Hey YouTube, it's Hannah Loba. If you want more MotoAmerica content, check out the new and vastly improved MotoAmerica Live Plus app. It's the only place you can catch all the race action in one place all season long. Click the link in the description below.
Race number 1, it's Beaubier, Kelly, and Peterson.
And then we're going to have Josh Herrin, Bobby Fong, and Brandon Posh there just outside of row 2. Then JD Beach, Gagne Baz, Chavi Forres, Ashton Yates, and Bryce Prince round out row 4. Ezra Beaubier, Benjamin Smith, Danilo Lewis, Nolan Lampkin. What a great story that is. We'll see if he's actually out there with Andrew Lee next to him and Dion Campbell. Then we got Richard Kerr, Flinders, Arango, and then Giannato back there as well. And Manny Segura is going to be the last one there back there, Greg. And this is a super important start here. Laguna is rare in this fact that you go uphill. From the time you release that clutch, you're heading uphill. So it makes the start a little bit more difficult. But let's see if this guy gets a good jump from row 2.
Here we go, race number 1, still Commander Superbike. 20 laps scheduled in this race, and it looks like a jump start for Sean Dylan Kelly. And he knows it, he starts to roll out of it, but we'll see what the stewards do. But down into turn number 2 we go, and it's going to be Cameron Beaubier, number 6, who leads the way on the Tyler Cycles BMW M1000 RR.
Great start for JD Beach, too, as Bobby Fong snuck up underneath him. And you can see Josh Herrin slots himself into second, or third rather. So right now I got to be thinking that Herrin has probably done some looking and thinking about things. He's not going to want to see Cameron Beaubier get away, but right now Cam Peterson taking that early charge to Cam Beaubier up in the front. Looking further back, STK, Greg, did recover at about 6. So I don't really think he gained very much. It would look like he just released the clutch lever a little early and got it back and then tried to go. So like you said, see what the race stewards have to say about that. Beaubier already up front, trying to stretch this lead.
For Cameron Beaubier, he broke the track record in qualifying. He did a lap time that was incredible, a 122.5. The record was a 122.9 set by Josh Herrin back in 2018 when we had Super Pole and a special gumball tire, Jay. And of course, this place was repaved a couple years ago, and riders showed up here and they were like, whoa, what happened? Where did all the bumps come from? So it hasn't been the greatest experience with the surface here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, but it's still fast enough to break track records all over the place.
STK makes that move on JD Beach. JD looked like he was going to turn it back up underneath him. Tyler's BMW versus Top Pro, and you see Gagne stuck right behind both of them at the moment. So Gagne stuck behind 2 BMWs as JD Beach fights back, gets himself back through on Sean Dylan Kelly, only to see him go back through again. Is that Brandon Posh? Looked like he maybe ran just a little bit wide. Now JD's made himself susceptible to the number 1 of Gagne, so Gagne goes through. This is what this track does, Greg. When a rider in front gets past, you have to attack right away.
Cameron Peterson, there's Sean Dylan Kelly. As we look at STK lead us down from the corkscrew, let's get to Hannah on Beaubier.
For a 20-lap race, Cameron Beaubier has only done about 8 consecutive laps, and while he is feeling a lot better, he said that right heel is still not 100%. This is his home track, so he's really excited to have the whole family in tow this weekend. They're certainly rooting to see him back on top. He did tell me they tried a swing arm yesterday to find some edge grip, and they went toward last year's settings. The bike punches out of the corners really well, but he's struggling out of those double right-handers. Hard to say if it's the bike or if it's physically his heel.
You know, Hannah, it's funny when you ride with an injury, and especially something like that, you got to remember, Greg, your feet are your base. Your base is what makes any athlete great. You look at soccer players, you look at football players, even a guy standing in the batter's box, they're using their feet as their base.
Yes,
Herrin's
right.
second right now. Bobby Fong is actually third, and Josh Herrin's going to make this pass, and he's going to want to try to chase after that leader, Cam Beaubier, now, who's pulled out to over 2 seconds, just over 2 seconds. He's the only rider in the 23s currently is Cam Beaubier. Herrin gives Cam Peterson a little wave back to say he's sorry. Cam Peterson's going to return it as they get down into turn 5, or try to. Didn't quite make it.
And of course, if you're new to motorcycle road racing and new to watching Steel Commander Superbike class, no rear view mirrors on this bike, no on-bike communication. So the riders, to get that information Jason was talking about, the only way they're going to get it is when they come onto the front straightaway. Part of their crew will be holding out a pit board that'll give them some information, and we're not sure if they've gone over this scenario or not.
Yeah, now one of the things that I think will catch my eye, if we looked at last time by,
another look at Josh Herrin as he squeezed on the gas coming out of turn number 2. A little sideways action for his Warhorse HSBK Ducati on that Panigale V4R. And by the way, Betting is now available for MotoAmerica fans. You can go to nxtbets.com/playma. nxtbets.com/playma. For more information, visit MotoAmerica.com. Down through the corkscrew. As the attack performance, Progressive Yamaha of Cameron Peterson keeping Josh Herrin close in tow as they're coming down to the bottom of the hill. But on the racetrack, you're looking at second and third.
Cam Peterson is 1.1 seconds behind Gagne on time. So that means that he, in 1.1 seconds, as he takes a shot, man, he almost lost the front there. As he turns it back, Herrin's going to turn it back up underneath him and probably beat him at the top of the hill. See if he gets it. Yep, Herrin's going to get to the top of the hill quicker. Cam's going to turn it back up underneath him, try to pass him down into turn 2. He's going to make that pass. Is Herrin going to turn it back up underneath him now? Yes, he is. Now this is just, actually this is killing Cam Peterson.
It is killing him, but Jay, the interesting bit was when Josh Herrin went by the stripe, he motioned to his pit board.
To that board, as you can see, Cam Peterson here gets the thing sideways, the bike snaps back, and you know, to us here, it looks close. To him, he had everything under control.
Sure he did, yeah.
But now that gap, just that messing around between those guys has created that 3.5 second gap. And Cam Peterson is still, well, he's a second back. JD Beach 6th, Loris Baz 7th. STK, you'll see him just behind Bobby Fong, but he's actually credited with 8th right now. Then we have the Suzuki's rounding out the top 10 of Xavi Flores and Brandon Posh.
Oh no,
that's Bobby Fong.
Championship points leader in the gravel trap, makes a huge mistake. He was sitting second in the third in this race. And Bobby Fong in the Wrench Motorcycles machine, his Yamaha R1 in the gravel trap, and he's not able to restart.
Look at it. We're not going to get a real good shot there. But you get in there and you feel like everything's fine, and then all of a sudden the front just goes from underneath you.
And this is the hardest thing for us as we continue to look at this battle. This is second place is Josh Herrin. Jake Gagne is now up to third place based on time behind Cameron Peterson, his teammate. And this is what the championship points look like if the race ended now. Gagne would have a 4-point lead over Herrin. Peterson 9 back still, and Fong would drop 15 back.
I feel like there's 2 tracks on our calendar, Laguna Seca and Road Atlanta, where riders always seem to be compromised and set up, and that's JD Beach right there. That looks like turn 10. That's going to be a fast one if that is turn 10. So for JD Beach, we were just talking about him too, and it actually, this weekend, JD's looked a lot better on that bike, and this is just a bummer here to see the Tytler's cycle. Yeah, it's going to be a lose the front probably in turn 10 really early too.
That's a fast one.
Yep, that's a fast one.
Look at that bike tumbling. The white flag out, 1 lap to go for Cameron Beaubier. 2.4 seconds is the lead. And of course for Cameron Beaubier, Jason, I'm sure he's going to enjoy this in front of his home crowd, but part of me also thinks that he's just waiting for this to be over as we continue to look at that right foot with that heel. This might be quite a painful win for Cameron Beaubier, but he told me that since the Ridge, that week and a half that we've had since the Ridge, that the injury he has exponentially gotten better. And Hannah told us that obviously he's not using the cane anymore, that he's just walking around with a limp.
But when you get out and you work the heel the way he did at the Ridge, okay? The thing is he went up there to try to get points, and unfortunately didn't get any in the first race up there because of the weather conditions we had. He was on slicks. We should have been on range. These guys have closed it way down, 2.4 seconds now. They were a full second quicker that time by than was Cam Beaubier. But Greg, after you work your ankle or work your heel the way he did, it takes a few days for it to kind of feel better, but then the healing actually seems like it improved, and that's exactly what he felt. As you can see, he has just completely managed this gap back to Herrin.
Oh, and Herrin now is going like, wait a second, can I get him, can I get him? But Josh Herrin knows and can control the bike in a way. So the final corner for Cameron Beaubier, onto the front straightaway for the final lap of Steel Commander Superbike race number 1. And to the checkered flag and wheel in the air for Cameron Beaubier. What a win in front of his home crowd. Second place will go to Josh Herrin. Third place to Cameron Peterson. On a great comeback ride for him. He'll be 5.9 seconds back. Sean Dillon Kelly with his 5-second penalty in fourth. And Jake Gagne holds off.
Just coming off of a 20-lap race. How do they do that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's Miguel Duhamel giving Cam Beaubier that trophy, and that's who Cam is chasing. But you're always thinking about tomorrow right away because it's so fresh. As soon as you get off the bike, you're thinking, you're wanting to tell your crew right away where you were struggling and where you could get better. And it's just, if you do it right away, it's just the riders just know that everybody else is going to improve. Like, you know, you hear riders talking about, I have to be better, or we have to be better. And
so it's Cameron Beaubier who takes the win over Josh Herrin by 1.1. Cameron Peterson right there, but it's 7 seconds. Let's get right down to Hannah with our winner.